hopped on. Would you be interested in talking next week or the following week about what you do with Cannabis Nurses Association?
Sure. Let's do 2 weeks. Let me double check and make sure I'm at 2 weeks actually.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can pick how far out. It doesn't matter which way to me, either which way to me. But oh, gotta turn that off.
30th is okay.
2 weeks. Okay, I'll make note of that. Thank you. Where's my notes?
Won't be a long time because I'm just a member. I mean, I'm associated with the committee and I've been to one of their meetings. But I think I can give a good idea. I don't know how many nurses you might have online, but love to drum up business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you could make, I don't know if it's something you'd want to, share with your group and ask them to come and join us and sit in,
Okay.
or I'm assuming it's a national
Yes.
organization.
Yep. We
Um,
have people all across the entire United States.
great,
A
great.
couple here in South Carolina.
Yeah, because as you know, what I'm trying to do with these is get a little bit of everybody's input. I don't know. I'm not going to deny that I'm trying to steal other people's ideas if I can. Anything to help move this effort forward. Um, I'm hoping to actually have a couple of people. I think somebody might be coming in from Kentucky tonight, from Kentucky Normal, and I forget where else the other person was from. Um, but I sent an invite out to Normal Nationals list to basically anybody in their system, um,
Okay.
if they'd want to come out and at least join us, or if they had topics that they wanted to talk about. Of course, in different states have some different issues. They may be in a different place with it than we are, um, but everything helps.
Understood.
Oh yeah. Oh, I actually forgot. I have to shoot a couple of messages out. I usually try and remind a couple of people, and I forgot to remind them. So let me open that up. Where the hell is my messenger? There it is. And go through my list. Where's the other ones? I think there's one more. Where are you, dude? Not there. Oh, not there. Oh, that's right. He's out of state right now. Okay, I'm not going to invite him. All right, we'll give it a couple of minutes here. See if we get a couple other people to join us. Probably do another quick blast on Facebook. I show a lot of people like that I shared that we're having this meeting tonight. I'm looking down my list here. A whole lot of people like it. Uh, come on, people, join in. Um, Let me close out Facebook. I don't need that open here. I need to open up what I'm going to talk about tonight. So let me go there. All right, 7:02. I'm going to go to folks another minute or two just because I didn't send messages out earlier as early as I usually did. So I'm going to give them a couple minutes more, see if anybody joins us. And it's Kristen. Hi, Kristen. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing okay. How are you doing tonight?
Good, good. I was just telling Michael here. I just sent out messages, reminders to a couple of people, so I want to give it a couple extra minutes and see if I can get a couple more people to join in tonight. Um, I must admit, I was really glad when we were talking on Saturday morning that this kind of popped into my head because as I've been working on it a little bit today and drafting up, the director's corner this morning for the newsletter, um, it it just sort of inspired me to try and work a little bit more with the elections coming up and stuff like that. And as I was going in and looking at the smoke the vote stuff, and I'll go into detail a little bit more, but um, I started drafting up some questions for candidates, and I'm going to run them by you guys, see if I'm maybe going in the right direction, or if you have some suggestions, that type of thing. But try and hit them with some kind of pointed, all the candidates, not just the uh, incumbents, but all candidates. Uh, so I guess they're all politicians. I don't know. Once you become a candidate, you're a politician. I don't know what the best word to use for them all, but and also, man, just for kill a little time talk. Did you see that post I shared about the fellow that's running for sheriff in Pinellas County, Florida?
Oh, mm-hmm.
He's been rather inspiring. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but I have this little bit of a obsession to watch First Amendment audits on YouTube, um, and it's basically people with cameras walking around in public places filming until somebody gets self conscious or upset or whatever and calls police on them, and they're not breaking any laws, and so and then we get to watch whatever fun ensues. Um, and I happen to be watching one of these, and I don't know if this candidate has maybe some First Amendment auditors working with him, because basically what this guy's done is he created this real big stencil that says whatever his name is for sheriff with a little star on it, and he drags this thing around and lays it on sidewalks and public places, and he has a portable power washer, and he power washes over the stencil so that when you remove it, there's his message, but he has applied nothing. He's done no graffiti. He's done no damage to anything. And the incumbent sheriff in that town, in that county, has been then getting people to go out and power wash over, which a if they're going to consider it a political sign, it's illegal to destroy a candidate's political sign, and the sheriff that the current sheriff is breaking law. Um, they can't consider it graffiti because they're not applying any kind of paint or anything. They're washing, they're cleaning. Uh, um, and so he's documenting a lot of this stuff as he goes along with it. And of course, the sheriff is sending out his men to harass this guy while he's out on the street doing it and things like that. And it's hilarious. And the one post I posted was basically like, I think the comment was, I should probably go find it real quick. Um, Come on, YouTube, you can do it. And really, this is just a quote from the candidate's page, but I used it as part of the post. Come on, load, man. I bought the fastest internet and the damn thing's hanging on me. There we go. This is the most comprehensive platform for police industry and justice reform for any sheriff candidate in the entire United States. And if you actually go to the guy's website, he's got like 10 or 12 tiles that talk about. Did I take it? I think this might go right to his website. About the different things. And one of the first ones on there is decriminalize cannabis. Number one. responsibly end the war on drugs. Number two, reduce costs and lower taxes. Number three, limit use of weapons, violence, and force. Number four, end war. Oh, hell, I'll let you guys even look at this by a screen share. There we go. I'm hoping that's showing now. But yeah, so and warrantless citizen spying, community outreach, help and support, body cams and police accountability, training and retraining, end all policing for profits. A constitutional sheriff 24/7, 365. Could you imagine that in South Carolina? A sheriff that follows the Constitution and justice reform. James McLean is for sheriff of Pinellas County. Now, I've heard some very few, but since I started following this guy, I've heard some interesting stories, about coming out of Pinellas County. Um, this would probably be refreshing for their citizenry, I would think. But anyway, that's my ramble on that. I see we're at 7:08. I'm going to turn off the share again for a second. Get back onto here, move this thing wherever the hell it was, and open up my disclaimer. Open recent. All right. So, as I usually do, I want to welcome everybody who's joining us here at our South Carolina Cannabis Conversation online. We do this every week, 7 p.m. All of our meetings are in an environment of education and awareness and are not an open market for the sale, purchase, or distribution of cannabis. We do not encourage or condone illegal behavior of any kind. So, welcome to the folks that are joining me tonight. Welcome to anybody watching later on YouTube. Um, Quick mention on that. We've actually been getting a little bit growing traffic on our YouTube channel since we've started these conversations. Um, so, I mean, we haven't added a lot. We've added a couple of subscribers and a couple more views on each video, but it's exciting. Um, as I mentioned to the folks with me already, and for those just joining us, our topic tonight is NORML Smoke the Vote program. Um, I want to go into that because they actually just kind of started promoting it again. At the beginning of this month, I think I saw it on their blog on about the 3rd or the 4th. Um, but they've just started promoting it, and we are less than 3 months away from elections. Keep pushing the wrong button here. Hit the right button so I can share again. There it goes. Make sure all my porn is closed. Ha ha ha. All right, so here we go. Let me make this just a little bit bigger. And so this is NORML's initial page for Smoke the Vote. And you'll notice way up in the top corner, if you can see that, it's kind of hidden for me behind something. The address is vote.norml.org. And what's nice about it is it's a very simple page. Starts at the top, Smoke the Vote, voting guide for legalized to legalize marijuana in the United States. And this bar here, I'll show you in a minute, where it asks you to enter your zip code, the full 9-digit zip code, because that's really, excuse me while I lean off screen, that pinpoints your location. But if you go down below, you can also see the full voting guides for the entire state. They can get long. We have 124 Congress people and 46 senators in this state. So that's 170 legislators. I don't know how many are up for election at this point, but it makes that kind of form pretty long. Um, but as a real quick example, I'll click on South Carolina since that's where we are. And you'll see our upcoming elections listed right up at the top here, races for Senate. And then our different House races. So that's why I say this can get long. We've got 46 houses and 26 Senate. So again, I won't go all the way through that. But if you go back to this little bar and you key in your zip code +4, which that is mine. I live on James Island, Charleston, South Carolina. Hit that little button. And now that brings me my voter guide for my particular location. And this tells me that in my races on the ballot are Senate, we've got Lindsey Graham as a Republican, Bill Bledsoe independent, Keenan Dunham as independent, Jamie Harrison and David as a Democrat, and David Wilkie as an independent. You'll notice that actually I'm not sure how Graham has a C because he doesn't believe in medical use or and he believes in jail time for possession. So how he manages a C, I have no idea. He should definitely be a D or a D minus.
Yeah, no
Um,
kidding.
yeah. And I've heard statements come out from Jamie Harrison. So at one point I went in and I updated that, he's looking to legalize, tax, regulate, decriminalize medical use. And if people have a knowledge of one of these candidates say, they can click on this little button that says know something, tell us. And if you click on that, you'll see it kind of opens up another form, and they give you a couple of check boxes that'll pretty much apply, and then they're going to ask you. I don't know why they want us to rate, but I think they should rate. But then they ask for the sources of your information and any additional info, so they can have verification. We don't want to be just putting bull crap out there or having legislators come out there and put bull crap in, lie to the voters. But then again, I guess they would be the source then. Uh, Also, in my location, I have Joe Cunningham as the incumbent Democrat with Nancy Mace running against as a
This is good.
Republican. I've talked to Joe briefly a
You know,
couple of
it's supposed to
times,
green. It's a bunch of people.
and uh, yeah, he's on a Veterans Affairs committee, and I've been trying to push him to join, to sign on to some of the legislation. But here's a good example: if you click on Joe, his opens up and actually will, has a quote by him at the top. I think medical marijuana should be legal. It's related as it relates to recreational marijuana, that should be left up to the states to decide. And there's a link with the source on it there. And then if you look at some of the votes that he's voted yes on the Safe Banking Act in 2019, and in
Oh,
2019 also voted yes on the Blumenauer McClintock Norton, boy that thing's growing over the years, amendment. I don't know if it has been updated because they just had that Blumenauer vote about a week ago, I think. So we'll see if that gets updated. Um, Also, the Secure and Safe, Fair Enforcement Safe Banking Act, basically the same as up above. So it gives us a little bit more information than on their voting record. Nancy Mace, I follow a little bit here in South Carolina, and her quote was, speaking on the concerns of illegal resale medical cannabis. Um, she thinks she's funny, I think. I have a news flash. The black market for pot is already well in existence. If someone is terminally ill and medical marijuana will help them, we want them to receive it in a legal manner so they're not going out and getting something that might do them harm. Now, she sponsored, let's see if I have this in here. Position supports non-smokable medical cannabis for terminal illness. That's key in hers, is terminal and lifelong debilitating. I don't know if
about
I remember
4 hours to
seeing that in
live.
her bill. Um,
Six.
she did co-sponsor 3660, which was the one that Peter McCoy had sponsored, which is the companion bill to the 366 S366, which is um,
Not yet.
Tom Davis's Compassionate Care Act. I thought, and I'd have to go double check the state website. I thought she actually sponsored one of her own that, and I'd have to go look it up. Um, that basically was saying, yeah, I approve it for medical use if you're going to be dying within like a year. That was her terminal illness kind of bit. Really sounded compassionless um, as far as that goes. But anyway, that's one of my other votes in my community here because Joe and Nancy are running on. I'm in House District 1. I'm also in Senate District 41. And with that said, um, I'm sorry, Senate District. U.S. House. I'm sorry, that was federal level. State Senate is Sandy Sen Republican. Sam Scarden, I know nothing about him as Democrat as a candidate. Sandy's the incumbent, and it says nothing in here, but I'm gonna. They probably haven't updated what I put in earlier because I received a copy of an email from her that she only supports medical marijuana if it's approved by the FDA. She's very pro police, pro law enforcement, and she's in denial of the fact that the DEA is the one that is denying uh, the ability for people to research, and apparently either deny in denial or ignoring the fact that to get FDA approval, it starts with research. Um, so it's her law enforcement buddies that are blocking the road. So really, if she believes that it should be legalized for medical use, if it's FDA approved, then she should fight with the DEA or join our fight with the DEA to allow research. Um, Now, I mentioned the Sam Scarden. I know nothing about him. Not too long ago, I added him to I think I added him. I don't think he added me to my Facebook friend list. And with that comment, I'm going to switch to another screen here. Ew, that's ugly. Let's see if I can make this a little easier to read. Nope. What the heck am I doing? Okay. I'm not sure how well you can read that, and I don't think I can zoom it in any bigger on my screen right now. Why? I don't know. I should be able to. But I started drafting some questions to this Mr. Scarden because I want to know what his opinions are. Oh, heck. I just heard somebody join, and I don't know how to get him in without stop sharing. All right, we've let them in, and let me go back to my screen share again. I'm actually going to change that a little bit too to see if I can make it a little easier for everybody else to see.
There's a little visitor. Hey, buddy.
Who you waving to, Jackie boy?
The little boy that was there on.
Oh, I missed. I missed.
Yeah, Harvey,
All right, I'm going to
Mr.
go back and
Harvey's side.
I'm going to go back and share the screen again. And I don't, like I said, I don't know if you'll be able to read these questions any better, but I'll read them off as I go through. Actually, I know what I'll do. I'll just freaking jump the font huge. There we go. Woohoo! There we
Yay.
go. Now we can see it.
Okay.
So I'm starting it to him. Hi, Mr. Scarden. I don't do deer. I rarely. Uh, I'm a constituent in House District 41, which is his district that he's running for. I'm also the director of Lowcountry NORML, a 501c4 nonprofit that's working to reform marijuana laws in South Carolina. I'm working with Normal National on the most comprehensive marijuana policy voter guide ever compiled. Here's a link to the list of candidates in my local area, and I basically sent them to that page I was just showing you guys of my local candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I am reaching out to you, to all the candidates. Oh, I don't know. I have an ad in there. To ask them about their position on marijuana law reform. Listed below are a few of the questions that we hope you will answer. 1. Do you support or condemn the effort to legalize marijuana for medical use in South Carolina? If you support, would you be willing to sponsor or co sponsor a medical marijuana bill? And the little follow up is basically the same on all of them. Would you sponsor, co-sponsor? Number 2, do you support or condemn the efforts to decriminalize possession of less than an ounce of marijuana in South Carolina? If you support, would you be willing to co-sponsor or sponsor a no fine, no time, no court cost? I don't know why I have a capital O there. Uh, Marijuana decriminalization bill. Number 3, do you support or condemn the efforts to end the unconstitutional practice of civil asset forfeiture? Now, I heard a police union representative say they use legal civil asset forfeiture, which is a misnomer because civil asset forfeiture violates the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. So, anyway, in South Carolina, and if you do support it, would you sponsor a bill? And the last one is, and I haven't seen anything more than my conversation with the folks at Palmetto Harmony, but do you support or condemn the efforts to increase the THC level in hemp to 1% in an effort to improve efficacy and to protect hemp farmers in South Carolina from malicious prosecution by law enforcement? And then, if you support, would you be willing to sponsor? And then I threw a few facts at the bottom. Arrests for simple possession of marijuana in South Carolina have increased from 1,888 arrests in 2016 to 34,229 in 2018, while all the, or, while many other states are decriminalizing and or legalizing for medical purposes and or legalizing for legal adult recreational use. Our black communities have been disproportionately targeted by law enforcement for persecution. A black person in South Carolina is 3.5 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession than a white person in 2018, up from 2.8 times. How do I let people join if I can't see it? Let me see if I can find that window. No, not that one. All right, I'm gonna turn off my share again and see if I can go find this. There we go. All right, sorry about that. Let me go back and reshare. All right, where was I here? Um, 2.8 times more likely to be arrested in 2010 and 1.8 times more likely to be arrested in 2001. I didn't know those last couple of numbers until just today. Those were information I picked up from the ACLU's report. Pickens, I'm assuming that's Oconee, Horry, Lexington, and Greenville counties have the largest disparities in marijuana arrests, ranging from 8.36, huge, to 5.25 in Greenville. And then in 2018, marijuana possession arrests accounted for 48% of all drug arrests in South Carolina. Um, Suggestions, thoughts, advice on the way I'm asking this, because, and then the reason I'm throwing it out to everybody, my plan really is to sort of develop these questions that they can be asked to all candidates, and then maybe see if we can set it up through our action network where people can sort of send it out to just their legislators and asking them to respond to them as the constituent in their county or their district. Um, a lot of legislators, a lot of candidates really don't give a crap about you if you're not voting for them or can't vote for them. Um, so we want their constituents to be asking them these pointed, what I feel are rather pointed questions. I'm not asking, oh, what's your opinion? I'm asking specifically, would you support? If if you say you support, are you willing to sponsor and co-sponsor? Not just, oh yeah, I support, and then you get in an office and you do nothing. Um, Anybody's thoughts? Unmute yourself if you like and chime in.
Hey, Scott, would
Yes,
we
Michael.
would we run into issues if we were asking why they didn't support? I mean, a lot of them say it's because of research or maybe family, issues. I don't know. Just it may be something we could follow up with. Okay, here is the research that obviously you're not getting sent to you from your.
Sort of to remind myself, I'm going to put a B here. So, as a suggestion, maybe sort of follow up with an A and B follow up on these. If you support and if you don't support, why? Do you have specific reasoning why you don't support? Good question. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that input. Any other thoughts on that?
My only like kind of nitpicky request would be to just make sure to cite the sources at the bottom, just so that they know that you're not pulling numbers out of thin air, just to show that you have scientific background.
Excellent. I agree with you. I must admit, I'm not. Uh, a lot of times when I post things, even when I'm arguing with strangers on Facebook, I tend to make my argument, and then I attach a link to my source or to my research for the most part. Um, Sometimes I just add a stupid meme, but but yeah, I like to sort of let them look at something, because that way, if I get a response, I can sort of gauge whether they even actually went and looked at the article or the piece I gave them. Now, mind you, I try not to send them to long drawn out, research documents or whatever, because I wouldn't read it. Um, you know, I, I I bore easily. I swear. Never been diagnosed, but I'm probably ADHD. Oh, hold, is that a squirrel out there? uh, very very easily sidetracked. But anyway,
Honey.
thank you. That's an excellent suggestion. I will and it's going to be easy because I'm just going to link it right to the ACLU's report. So that's cool. And yeah, that's one. I think I had mentioned to somebody the other day. I think it may have been you, Kristen. I may have been you, Jackie. Um, but I mentioned to a couple of people lately the increase of arrests since from 2016 to 2018, and I told them, I'm like, I'm not sure the number. I don't know if it's 32,000 or 36,000. Well, the actual number of marijuana arrests in the ACLU report was over 38,000, but it was only 34,229 that were possession arrests. So that's the one I usually reflect on.
Uh, that's amazing.
Isn't it though? And imagine the millions of dollars it costs to put the people through our judicial system and to house them for however long they're going to house them in jail. And they do jail these people. I mean, that's the crazy. And the one thing that I haven't even mentioned in this particular thing, and I probably should because I talked about civil asset forfeiture in the top, but is about civil asset forfeiture in these facts. 80% of the civil asset forfeitures here in South Carolina are less than $1,000. Civil asset forfeiture laws in this country were developed to go after the kingpins that they couldn't get because they were out of the country, so they wanted to lock up their assets and stuff like that. It wasn't about getting some poor black guy on the street and stealing his hoopty or his grill or whatever it might be. Fucking idiots! They piss me off. yeah. uh, but 80% are under $1,000. They're not going after kingpins. They're going after people on the street, and they're targeting our poorer communities, which just is ridiculous. As I mentioned in a post earlier somewhere, you know, I I realize I'm an entitled white guy. I could probably get away with a whole lot more with getting caught with a little bit of marijuana. Um, than most, but than most that they arrest. But yeah, it just aggravates the crap out of me. So good suggestions. I'll list the sources at the bottom, and I will let's draft up basically a if you don't support, if you condemn. Is condemn too harsh of a word,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, I would say
Jackie's
it's
nodding
too harsh.
yes?
Yeah, I
Too
do
harsh.
too. Yeah.
All
Just
right.
don't support.
Yeah.
I
Just
think is enough.
right. I agree.
Okay. Yeah, I'll hit the thesaurus on that. Neither do you not support or some less harsh word on it because condemn. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them probably do, but others could just they can't support because they don't have enough knowledge or the laws the way they sit right now at federal level don't allow them to support
I I
something like
personally would not want to use the word condemn with the legalized use of medical marijuana, because if
No.
that came out wrong from the politician side, they're going to say, I condemn these people to die because they're not getting medical marijuana.
yeah.
Exactly. It just kind of
But
goes all the way back to the Tax Act of 1937. Sounds like that kind of uh, horribleness of the terrible drug marijuana.
yeah. Well, and that's why, because of that history, many politicians have condemned it and demonized it and so on and so forth. So, as I was drafting it, I mean, to me, I felt it was kind of an accurate word, and I didn't think it was really the right word, but I used it because that's the word that came to me at the moment. But I appreciate the input. I'm going to, kind
Mm-hmm.
of hit the thesaurus real quick and evaluate that a little bit. Um, and then, like I say, I'll have to look into uh, the Action Network program and see how I can sort of set this up where people can put in their name and it'll auto populate their information with the same questions to send to their legislators, and then we ask those people if or when they get a response back, forward a copy of it to us so that we have some knowledge of it, and or go to what the heck page is this one? I better hide that. Oh, I must have hid it down here. Or go to Smoke the Vote, and I lost my browser. What the heck happened to it? Oh, there it is. Go to smoke the vote. I have this thing full screen. I think that's why it's disappeared on me. All right. Because again, if they got the response and wanted to go in and fill in any of these places, they could. So back to where we were on District 141. That's what caused me to start drafting it because these people I kind of have an idea, except for these independent candidates for the federal race. And then also, I am in House District 115, and I know absolutely nothing about either of these candidates here. So, again, I'll send them the same type form and see what info we can get. Down below on these pages, basically, it just tells you your current elected officials in the state, and of course, if there's information. So that just shows me the incumbents.
That's
Um, I'm going to back up one here if I remember we're here. So yeah, I don't know if you were here when I started this particular section of it, Jackie, but if you go to
I
the
was.
vote.normal.org, in this box here, you put your zip code +4, and it takes you specifically to um, your your legislators. Um,
+4, is that your PO box, or you say +4?
no, that's a well, here's one of mine I just got in the mail. So look at some of your mail, and you're going to see
Oh, I
that
got you. I see.
plus
It's
4 29412 dash kind
Um,
of thing.
I
So,
used to work with the post office for like 22 years.
oh
So
good.
yeah, your zip +4. So it just really gets you down to like what street on the house on the block is, or what house on the block is that. So it's not really that important. You just need the first 5 digits.
well, for this particular program, you want all four because unfortunately we have some even here in James Island 29412, we have a couple districts that cross the our zip code.
Oh,
And so there's sometimes somebody on one side of the street that has a different legislator than the people on the other side of the street.
yeah.
Good example, I was working the polls last week for a special election in
In your
district
district, right?
in my district here,
Yeah.
115. And the poll that I was working at, a lot of James Island District 20 people or District 150, 119 were coming on because part of the island is also District 119. So yeah, use the entire 9-digit zip code
Oh,
for that.
okay. Yeah.
Now,
And
again, I live on Folly Beach. We have a post office. They don't deliver to our home, so we have to have it 29439-1278 is mine because otherwise it won't
Well,
go through
yeah.
POS. So that would be my 4 or not.
Well, and the thing with Folly is no matter where you are on Folly, you're the same district.
Yeah,
So let me
yeah.
try it here. If I just click in your 5, oh, it still wants the rest of them. What did you say yours is? 1.
It's 1278.
Okay. You'd have to enter that in apparently,
Uh
and then
huh.
it'll take you. Um,
Okay, good. All
so
right, I
yeah,
think I.
you are District 1 Cunningham and Mace. You are District 43 Chip Campson and Richard Herrick. I met him at an event last year.
Uh huh.
You're also still District 115. So
Yeah, right.
yeah.
We just voted
so
for that.
there's an
Right. Good.
example where we have a different zip code, 294 12 was mine, but we have the same District 115. So yeah, those
Right.
last 4 digits help pinpoint your location, just so they know what side of your street you're on. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
the craziest. I think along Woodland Shores Drive here in James Island, that I think it's like one side of the street is one, and really, if you follow the split between District 115 and 119 on the state's maps, and they're hard as hell to look at. It kind of follows up Folly, and then it cuts over a little bit. I think it includes like the Harris Teeter, and then it cuts back and goes up, and then it cuts the other way and cuts out a small portion of one of the developments, and it just wiggles all around. It's all part of
Yeah.
the gerrymandering.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it wiggles all over the place. But
Yeah.
that's
Well,
sort of Go ahead.
The Dill sisters owned almost all of the land that was like where the Food Lion is, that goes back to the fort, and then on the other side of Grimble Road, and all of that area was belonged to two sisters. They gave it to the museum to keep it in perpetuity, and they sold half of it to Joe Riley, and he turned it into a development and shopping centers and apartments. And so the only
Yeah.
part that the Dill sisters have left is the other side of the road on Grimble
Right.
Road.
Well,
But
and again with gerrymandering, they like to
they
sort of, oh, well, that side of the road might be a little too black for us, so we want to, draw the line this way. At least
right.
that's my feeling on why they do that. Not necessarily color as much as political lean. Um, but either way, my goal here, and I'm glad you all joined me with it. I think we've had a great conversation. Is to, like I say, get these questions out there. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. Um, Develop this, get those questions out there, and because we're less than a month or less than 3 months from the election, see if we can inform the voters. I mean, a lot of people may disagree with me being a one issue voter. That's my choice. I'm a one issue voter. I mean, I'll be quite honest with you. If I heard Donald Trump come up and say, if you elect me, I'm gonna absolutely legalize. Um, I don't think I could do it. I just don't.
I can do
I
it.
apologize to
I
anybody
couldn't do it.
that I apologize to anybody that supports that wants him to have another term, but I don't think I could. Um, Only because I've heard too many untruths, half truths, uh, deceptions. I've, at least in my opinion, coming out of his mouth. Um, but then again, Joe Biden isn't any freaking winner either. Drafter of the 1995 crime bill, picked Cop Miller to be with him, and now maybe I'm being a little stubborn. As they mentioned in one of the national meetings I was on not too long ago. She's been coming around for about 4 years, and actually there was a statistic I read that I was intrigued by that during her time as Attorney General or whatever it was in California. Uh, their marijuana possession arrest dropped 83%. Now, whether she had
Hmm.
anything to do with it or not, I have absolutely no idea. Um, and because of her sponsoring, was she partially sponsored the MORE Act? She partially, I think she co-sponsored on the MORE Act, but she's involved in pro cannabis legislation. So I'm hoping that although the party decided not to have that as part of their platform, that maybe she can sort of help educate Joe. I don't know if he's going to learn anything or not, but and as I really would wish there was a, va- a reality of a party person winning. I just don't think the way our system's set up that a third party candidate has a chance of winning.
That would give Trump, I feel, more of a chance because it would be like the Perot break it up, where a third gets some and then the wrong person wins because he was just a third
I don't
candidate.
know. Let's see if we can get Kanye West on that ticket, man, and see if they help or hurt the Trump.
Oh God!
I
Oh
I
yeah,
think Kanye's on the ticket, isn't he?
I don't
yeah,
know
I
if he
think
actually
so.
made it on or not. You could be correct. You
Yeah,
may
that
very
yeah.
well be
From
correct.
Trump
I
to
would
the
love it. I would love it.
from Trump to the Kardashians, that would be perfect.
Oh no. I just got a
Oh my!
haircut, so I can't really pull my hair out.
I'll pull it. I'll pull it. Oh man.
Oh man. Um, let's see. I don't have a necessary schedule for next week. I will see what I can come up with. Hopefully, next week. Before I go on to next week, I do want to remind anybody who's with us tonight or who's watching in the next day or so that Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Will be the normal monthly membership meeting. Um, we may very well be kind of going over the same thing with membership, but also I'll be doing a little bit more begging on for volunteers and telling a little bit more of our restructuring project. Um, Otherwise, yeah, no definite plan for next week. I have a couple of people that I've reached out to, and I may just kind of follow up some of it, or at least a little piece of it, with how I finished up these drafts and what we got going with that. In 2 weeks, we have invited Michael Harvey, who's with us here tonight. He's a member of the Cannabis Nurses Association. To sort of explain to us what that group does, what their involvement is, and things like that, and also asked him to invite other members of that organization to come join us. Um, and I've still got kind of a line out to oh crap, I forgot his name because I was talking about Peter McCoy and it's not Peter. The other McCoy, that's the lawyer up in Myrtle Beach, to come in and again talk to us a little bit about what to do when you're stopped by law enforcement. And I'm still kind of waiting back to hear from David, the lobbyist, and the I think he's co-owner of Palmetto Harmony to talk about the hemp and 1% issues. So that's kind of what I've loosely got on the schedule coming up over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to try to get a little bit more proactive and see if I can get a little further advanced notice on who's going to be on or what our topic's going to be. Good example today. I don't think we sent our newsletter out till 1 or 1:30 in the afternoon. I'd really rather get our newsletter out a day or two before so people have a chance to like actually see it in their email box and look at it, but a lot of it is because I drag my feet, and Krista and I kind of go, "Oh, it's Saturday morning," because we meet on Saturday mornings for a board meeting. Oh, it's Saturday morning, and on Tuesday the newsletter's due, and so her and I discuss kind of what we're going to put in the newsletter, and it takes us the day to get it together. So at this point, it's not so much the newsletter that I want to promote it in, but my other posts and shares that I do through our social media, so I can get it out there maybe once or twice, or instead of just once on Sunday morning, um, is get it out 2 or 3 times through the week. The algorithms on social media; not everybody sees every post, um, and again, just try and grow our audience. Um, any suggestions again for future events? You can always email me or comment at some point on one of our meetings. Otherwise, anybody have any last minute comments they'd like to put in it before we wrap things up tonight?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention this past Saturday, I don't know if anyone was able to go or not, but Normal helped with a national drug policy reform seminar. And if you weren't able to see that, it's actually completely filmed on YouTube. I definitely suggest watching. There are some really interesting speakers. All you'd have to do is just search National Drug Policy Reform Seminar and it'll come right up. So just wanted to let
Oh,
everyone know
excellent.
there.
Yeah, I
Wow,
sat in through
that's neat.
part of it, and boy, I think at hour two I started kind of and and sitting here watching seminars, and sometimes I'm trying to multitask, and so I don't always catch a lot of as much of it as I should. Um, I figured that they would have had it recorded and posted, but I hadn't seen it to share the link. So thank you. I will track that down, and I'll make sure we get that shared as well. Anybody else?
Did you, did you mention that the gentleman was a nurse, a cannabis nurse?
Yes, that's Michael here, who's one of our
Yeah,
viewers
hey,
tonight.
Michael.
Hi.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've
So
been
he's a member of
fighting.
Cannabis Nurses Association.
I've been fighting non-Hodgkin's lymphoma since 1999. It's follicular lymphoma, and really the only reason I'm alive is because of this rituximab, a monoclonal antibody. And all I can take is CBD here in South Carolina. How do I get help? The doctors look at me and say, "We'd like." My oncologist even believes in it, but he just says, "Go find it in the street." You know?
About all we have until we get the safe access. And
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
unfortunately,
refugees that have moved to Colorado and other states for access, which isn't really an option for most of us. But
Right. Well, it's an option for us. We can sell the house at the beach. We were about to and do that, but then the COVID by hit, and that was it. So the equity has probably changed a little bit. I don't know
yeah.
what's happened to real estate, but I'm sure prices have probably gone down somewhat. So
Yeah, Jackie's talked
we
to me a couple of times about becoming a cannabis refugee and moving away from Folly Beach in the Charleston area. And there's a number of people that I have met originally when I started the organization that are still like on my Facebook friend list and stuff like that. And I'll see them start posting stuff, and I find that they're now in legal states. Um, And so, yeah, it's not an uncommon phenomenon, especially for younger people that aren't as established, to just pick up and say, it's not worth the aggravation and the danger
Hmm.
of getting caught in South Carolina. I'm going to, a lot of them have gone to Colorado, and I've heard a couple other places, but Connecticut, that kind of thing. But yeah,
Well,
that is a real.
that's a good point you brought up. Age, you know, we've got to consider it too. Carrie and I. I'm not a young man anymore, and to make a big change like that, it's really hard for us older gang. So
Hmm.
and we're so locked into Folly and Charleston, and I've been here all my life, and Carrie loves it. So our plans to move will probably never happen. It's more like a pipe dream,
Oh,
literally.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because we went to Washington State, and just before the rain started, and one of my buddies from Hawaii had moved there and lived through one of the worst, rainiest winters in Washington, and left the next spring and never went back. Oregon's too wet. It's just too wet. And California is too expensive. So you
Well, I
have
tell
left.
you, Jackie, I'm doing
Yes,
everything I can for you to get it legal here.
I
So
know, buddy.
we're
I'm with
we're
you. I'm
working
with
on
you.
it.
I'm with you. I'm with you, buddy. Anything I can do to help you.
So
All
Jackie,
right.
Yeah.
have you ever gone to Columbia and told your story?
You mean like
Like
in Columbia
like
in
a
the Senate?
Senate hearing? Yeah.
Never even considered it
Well,
on
you
this
need to
day.
think about it.
Well, well,
With the upcoming,
well,
like,
like I tell Scott, I grew up with the Charleston narcotics agents Bachi and Strom, and we were scared to death. And I was a surfer, and we were one of the first that had marijuana because it came in from Hawaii and California with these new kids moving into town. So we were the first. Nobody at St. Andrews knew that I ever took a puff. So it, it's a whole different life we live here, and we're paranoid. We're
right.
scared.
But
Because
you could still go to Columbia and tell your story,
thank
um,
you. I
and
appreciate the
nothing
motivation.
happened. But so I would suggest that for sure.
Well, I appreciate the
And
motivation. Maybe I would.
that brings up real briefly. I just want to touch base with the guest that we had on a couple of weeks ago, Tamara. I think it's Linz is her last name, who is the director of cruelconsequences.org. I'll put her web address in the chat window. And what she does is she tells the story of the residual consequences that happen to people after um, a marijuana arrest. So it doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily apply to your story necessarily, Jackie, but um, and be quite honest with you, she'd probably even follow up. She'd probably even do stories on people non-arrest and the harms that prohibition has done to them. And that's a lot of what the story she's trying to tell. And she has a portrait. She does a portrait gallery type display, and she's been taking this display to a lot of different locations. I think even to the Virginia State House at one point. Um, uh, so it's a little bit different, I think, situation because yeah, she's talking more about you've been arrested and now these are all the additional consequences. Not so much that uh, I could use it in a medical way and can't access it.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Everybody knows
But
that.
again, telling your story at a state house hearing, if that's an option, you could hope may sway a legislator or two. You can only
Well,
hope.
it wouldn't be a bad legacy. I tried to pass surfing forward, and I would always do anything I can to help cannabis, uh, even in this
Well,
podunk state.
real briefly, because you kind of brought it up to me, and it's something that the activists should be doing is going to Columbia and having a rally on the Capitol steps. Uh, I've been challenged by it a little. First off, being relatively new to South Carolina, uh, my past vehicle that I moved here with and the current one, they're high mileage, poor quality vehicles, so I don't necessarily trust them for long travel. And I was sort of hoping or counting on Columbia Normal to kind of host us when we would get up to Columbia, but Columbia Normal is I'm not sure if it's functional anymore. If I
Huh.
know there's been discussion of changing the name to Metro Normal, and there's like one gal I know that sort of occasionally posts to their Facebook page, but otherwise I don't know what else they're doing. Um,
That's interesting, Scott, considering, you know, where you started,
right,
right?
and they when I started here, they were already in existence for 10 years up in
Exactly.
Columbia, and there was a little bit of bad blood between our chapters because they wanted us to like be absorbed by them and any donations get turn them over to them and then they would allocate what they thought we needed back. I'm like, I founded this organization. I'm not going to let you frickin' control the
Right.
finances of it. We're poor enough as it is. I mean, we really, as an organization, I think get donations of about $2,000 a year. I don't think we've broken 2,500 yet. We may have this year. I'd have to check, but uh, we don't have a whole lot of money to be sending them to Colombia.
Right.
To I mean, mind you, if they had projects to work on that we could all contribute to, yeah, we'd be more than willing. Uh,
Hey,
yeah.
anytime you want to, if there's something you want to go to and I'm going, you're welcome to ride with me.
Oh, okay. Suzanne, what's your last name?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Burbage.
Oh, oh, it
Oh,
doesn't sound like you. I'm
oh,
sorry.
that's funny. Okay.
May,
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
I
know
mean,
why
I
my
saw the
picture.
name and I thought it was you, but when you started talking, it didn't sound like the
Yeah,
Suzanne's
I
voice
think I
that I
always
remembered.
sound different on, over the speaker. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so anytime, yeah. I mean, I would be glad to take people up, because
Yeah, if
I
you're ever
try to
going
go.
that way, if you're ever
Yeah,
going up for a rally or something, or for one of the Senate hearings, let me
yeah,
know
like
because.
there'd be like a subcommittee hearing for that you could speak, Matt, and I still haven't
Hmm.
spoken yet myself because they had so many. Like the last time I went, they had so many people there to speak
Wow.
that yeah. So and people had come out of town and all that. So anyway, lots
Yeah, and
of
I've even considered if I could get enough people, get a rent a van or
yeah.
minibus or whatever it would take. If we could get the support, as an organization, I'd try and pull in some donations so we could get a bus or whatever. And that's why I said I was really hoping to get a little bit of, if we ever have the opportunity to do this, is to get a little bit of support out of Columbia because maybe there's a place that they say, hey, you can meet us here, and we have some space where you can kind of organize before heading over to the state house or after the event to maybe have a bite to eat, or I don't know, something to help us organize because I'm not familiar with Columbia at all.
Yeah, I
Um,
think you'll find more of like Palmetto Harmony and Jill, South Carolina Compassionate Care Alliance. I think
hmm
you'll see more of them having stuff. So look for that
Yeah, I think
maybe
I will too because, like I said,
instead of Columbia Normal. Yeah,
yeah, Columbia Normal's not really active anymore.
yeah.
Same with
But
Aiken Normal.
those two groups are, and there's always people there, which is great. But there's always room for more people.
Hmm.
So
And I watch a lot of Jill's posts too, and I know when I first met Jill a few years ago, she had mentioned something to me because I met Jill and Janelle at the same time.
yeah,
Janelle's with Palmetto Harmony, Jill with
you're right.
Compassionate,
Mhm.
um, and Jill had kind of stated to me at that time that once medical gets legalized, she probably would not join any kind of fight with normal for a decrim or any other type of stuff, but
That's
over
not
the
fair.
years, I kind of watch some of the stuff that she posts, and I think she's evolved away from that a little bit, and that she probably would join us in the support because
Well,
she does recognize the
yeah,
harms. And I
yeah, but
think,
think about how long she's fought for medical, and we still don't have it, which
oh,
is
absolutely,
yeah, kind
she's
of
been a
unreal.
warrior,
Yeah, she is a warrior for sure.
and uh, and tenacious, and I mean, if I were her, I'd be freaking frustrated, and I'd be swearing, I'd be, but she
Hey,
seems to
she's
take
ready
she
for
seems to
next
take.
year.
Yes, yeah. I know. I spoke with her briefly not too long ago, and that's another thing that we'll probably bring up. And actually, that's not a bad topic for one of our evenings, is to discuss the suggestions or suggested amendments for the Compassionate Care Act, because I'm pretty
Right.
sure that Tom Davis is going to redraft the Compassionate Care Act pretty much just the same way it is. And our opinion at Normal is it really needs some amendments on certain things. Biggest one I see is allocating 50% of the proceeds from the taxes on it to SLED and the 46 county sheriff's offices. The other one I think really needs to be removed or amended in there is the increase in fine by $1,000 if somebody happens to claim erroneously that they are a medical patient. And the way I see that happening is some kid on the street saying to an officer, "Hey, dude, that's my medicine," but they don't
Yeah.
have a legitimate card, and the cop saying, "Oh, you're lying about being a patient? Here's an extra $1,000, poor young fella." Uh, yeah,
So
there.
what do you think, Scott, about the no flour?
I also don't agree with the no flour.
Okay, I thought that was going to be coming.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
and that should be in. I wasn't sure because I know flour had been in the Compassionate Care Act at some point, but I
Yeah.
think it got removed some point.
Yeah, it did.
Um,
Yeah.
flour should be in there. Home grow should be in there.
Right.
Um, will they be? Will home grow be? No.
Yeah.
Um, can it can it be something that we work on after the fact? Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think
can
that they're just ready to pass a bill and then like whatever they can get passed, and then after that, add to it.
Well, I was originally from Pennsylvania, and I was not in Pennsylvania when they finally went medical. But when
Mm.
they did first go medical, they also had a ban on flour. And within a year, most of the
And
places I've
edibles
seen,
too. Yeah.
was it in edibles too? It was
Yeah.
only tinctures
They
and
still have no
concentrates.
edibles. Yeah, they still have no edibles.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, but
Well, I can't get any.
but 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 the flour was included back in within about a year, and most of the places that I've
Yeah.
heard of that have had a medical with no flour, almost all of them, I believe, have included flour within about a year of
Yeah.
the original.
So I mean, yeah, I think we'll go back and do that, but I
So
think
yeah,
like
that
I
one's
said,
not as hard pressed for me at the moment.
yeah.
Um, let's pass something, but yeah, because I believe that it could be moved forward.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
and,
I
and
agree.
of course, a big push is going to be in the coming year is the decriminalization. There were three decriminalization bills in the state house this past year. Only one of them garnered more than the sponsor. Um,
Mhm.
I think it garnered three or four co-sponsors, um, and I think a big part of it was it's just not talked about. Many people didn't know there was a decrim bill. I wasn't out there saying, write your frickin' legislators about these decrim bills, click
Right.
our Action Network button or whatever it might be. And so, yeah, everybody, the news you'd see about the compassionate care legislation. Um, when hemp was an issue, you'd see that in the newspaper. But just because some legislator proposes a bill doesn't mean that the media is going to pick it up. So, um, there's that. I must say, and I'm going to throw this in because it kind of popped into my head with this letter writing campaign to our candidates to see if we can find out what their position is. I'm I'd also like to see one other letter campaign, and that would basically be people writing letters to the editor. Get stuff in the media. I mean, what better way to talk to the public? And although we know that a majority of the public already supports us, they're not doing it, at least for our organization, as actively as I wish they would. And I think a lot of it is we really need to sort of prod them a little bit and do letters to editors and just kind of keep that conversation going, not just here in our little Zoom meetings each week, but out in the general public and in the media. So, anyway, that's my little blurb on that.
That's good.
I see we're 8:01 already, and I've tried to kind of wrap it up once or twice here. So I'm going to throw it out one last time. Suzanne just mentioned she lost me in a comment over here. It looks like she's connected. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna
There
kind of.
she is. There she is.
Are you back,
You
Suzanne?
want to say something? No, I guess not.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if she actually, if she maybe went through a tunnel and lost connection. It still shows. Anyway,
Mayor?
we're pretty much done for the evening, I believe. So, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to ask you all to come back here next Sunday and see me again at 7 o'clock. And, yep, thanks for joining me. Have a good night, y'all.
Good night. Good night. Thanks for coming.